Guys, hi. I'm just going to do a really short video today because a few people have requested a walkie-talkie, so it'll be in parts, but we'll do our best. So what we've done is we've hiked over to the next village or next town to us up along the coastline, and we're going to go back up that hill, which is a walk around the coastline. It's kind of a bit like Switzerland. The train goes around the cliff. It takes an hour and a half to walk from one town to the other. I'll just give you a little look here standing up. The sea is really beautiful and calming there. We've just sat down for a coffee after a walk around. So if you look to the left, you'll see another long beach, which is the town next to the town I'm from. We're going to talk today about boundaries and the narcissist, and what we discover after the narcissistic relationship has ended, and what we discover about ourselves and boundaries. And I do know that when I started getting into the narcissistic awareness community and started to research, I hadn't even heard the word boundaries, or it was kind of a distant word that I didn't actually know what it really meant. And people would say, you know, in different videos or different research papers, it's important that, particularly when you're dealing with a narcissistic individual, that you have very firm boundaries and that this will protect you. So my take on what a boundary is these days is it's where you have beliefs that make you who you are, and it's where you draw a line in the sand when someone tries to break down a belief you hold firmly that's integral to your life. So it's a deeply held, no compromise part of your view on life and your take on life and your personality. It's what makes you you. And you know, you'll compromise on a lot of things and you'll compromise around different issues, but it's the point of no return. It's the point where you set your line firmly down, and beyond that you will not be pushed. That's what's called a boundary. And we know that narcissists will push the boundaries always, and the more they push, the more you become part of them and just an extension of them, where you are subtly being drawn into having no boundaries and having very weak boundaries and becoming part of who they are and partaking and sharing in their outlook on life. Okay guys, so I'm going to go over to those buildings and up that hill, and then we're going to go around the cliffs, and I'll catch up with you then now in a minute. So I hope the video is not too choppy for you, but we'll take the discussion up then again. So guys, this is a view from the ledge here. We're on the beginning of the walk, and just over there were the little rocks that we sat on when we started the talk. The outlook of the town, and if you go further on along the coast, then you go into Dublin. So we're going to continue on up along here, up along the cliff walk, and this is a start of it is kind of in concrete. I'm hoping this is going to be a really relaxing video and just show you part of Ireland. It's just looking over the wall there as we journey on our narcissism recovery program. The narcissist hates boundaries because boundaries get in the way of their assertion of control over a person. So it's important to them that they will gaslight you out of your boundaries. They'll break them down subtly and make you feel like their view of the world is the correct one, and it's much more beneficial if you partake in their view of the world. It makes for a much easier type of relationship experience. And in some ways, some of the boundaries we have are fearful boundaries, so negative boundaries, and if the narcissist tries to take them down, it can be a beneficial thing, because we may be afraid of something. We may have a boundary, a fearful boundary, that's not within our best interests. And then in that instance, we may be grateful that the narcissist has pushed us out of our limiting belief boundary, which kind of makes us trust them to a certain extent, when other boundaries that we have, don't agree with what they're trying to push us to do. We've built a level of trust with them so that we're kind of more willing to move our boundaries for them. Okay, I've got to shut off here again now. We'll take it up in a while. Okay guys, so here we are back again. So that is the other town side of this cliff walk. And this is my village side of it. You can see in the distance there. This is a really old, it's a really old walk. It was done in the 1800s, and people used to use it. The train runs below, way down there. So, boundaries. The narcissist will push at your boundaries because they are in the way of their power and control over you. They're a nuisance to them. They will push your sexual boundaries. They'll push your financial boundaries. They'll push and push because basically they are not interested in you as a person and being a person and the essence of who you are and what your principles are, and they're not with you for that. They're with you so that you can serve their needs. So the fact that you have these personal boundaries and behaviours that you're uncomfortable with, that you don't want to push towards, are just a nuisance to them, and they will work subtly but methodically and repeatedly to break those boundaries down until, the end game is, Remy, don't drink that water. The end game is, guys, that you will be boundaryless and you will be there totally and purely to serve their needs, and your identity is more or less wiped out, and that's the danger. The train goes along there. So, most healthy people, if you put a boundary up to them that's against what they are looking for you to do with them, they might not like it, particularly if it goes, totally against what they want to do, but they will respect it, and they will respect you all the more for having strong boundaries and the confidence to stick to them and stick to what you believe in and who you believe you are. That's a healthy response. Okay guys, I'm going to pick that up in a few minutes now. Pick it up again when we go around the corner. Okay guys, we're coming to one of my favourite points now, because when we come around this bend, we're kind of on the home stretch, and it's back into the town I live in, which is just over that cliff. I hope you don't mind the disjointed nature of this video. I just wanted to take you on a walk. I know some of you like it better than the videos at home. So just in relation to the pushing of the boundaries, I mean, it can get you into a hell of a lot of trouble if they push you, for instance, on your sexual boundaries, because you can end up feeling, you know, if it's gone against who you are and what you believe in, you can feel demeaned. Your self-esteem can be at a big low point, and you can become, the whole thing is you become very more confused about how you go forward, what is your value, and your value system is shot out the door. And it's the same with the financial boundaries. I know personally the financial boundary was a big thing for me, having gone through an experience with a narcissist in the past, and that kind of helped establish a boundary. But again, financial boundary is huge because, you know, you can loan them money that you wouldn't have maybe loaned somebody else. You can get into businesses with them, and because you trust them, because you're in a relationship with them, you may not have paperwork to back it up, because the way we do things is, as empathic people, we tend to trust and see trust as being vital in a relationship. Narcissists will play on this. They play on the fact that we compromise, that we trust, that our word is our bond. It's why they choose us. It's why they choose people with empathy. So I'm going to cut off here again, guys, and we'll pick up when we get around the head. Back again, guys, and this is just coming down off the highest point of the walk. A lot of people actually run on this track, and I've done it once myself. It's a beautiful run. Look, the views are pretty stunning. More people are using it these days, though, and it's a great facility to have with the COVID lockdown. Very, very grateful for it. Maybe just taking a little detour there. Yeah, so just as we come around the headland here, you can see my hometown's coming into view. So going back to the boundaries with the narcissist, you can actually destroy yourself if you don't keep your boundaries, if you do allow the narcissist to push them so that they become non-existent, and you become very codependent on the narcissist at that stage. This is what they're happy with. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. Guys, most of us here, and a lot of people who are discarded by the narcissist, will have set boundaries, even if they didn't realise they were upholding their boundaries. Subconsciously, they wouldn't let the narcissist push them any further. You get to a stage where you do draw a line in the sand and you say, no, this is where I won't go beyond. And that's a healthy place to be. But if the narcissist comes up against that too often, they start to devalue you because they can't control you. When they can't control you, they feel less than, and they feel vulnerable. They're not getting the supply they've gotten before. So your boundaries are your protection. And sometimes people, they're in such pain from being discarded, they kind of go, oh no, like I would have compromised on that. And that would have been a big, big mistake, because the more you compromise, the more they push. I remember the narcissist saying to me at one stage, why can't you just be normal? And it was in the context of not agreeing to something. And I was thinking, what does that mean? And I've realised on reflection, it was, why can't you be more malleable, more controllable? So if they find it too difficult to control us, they will discard. But that's a good thing for us, to not get pushed beyond a certain point. There are some things that you just won't go beyond, and it's really, really telling if you're with a narcissist what they are. I know that mine was eventually financial, and I wouldn't I wouldn't let the narcissist push against one of my children, trying to criticize them. And the other thing he tried to do, and I'm sure you guys who know Remy won't like this, he tried to get me to get Remy rehomed. And if you know how much I love Remy, you know that was a big mistake. Then he tried to get me to put him outside in the garden in a kennel, and then he told me we'd never have another dog when Remy died. Oh, all done subtly, so you know you're not kind of up in arms, but oh, it paints a picture kind of what you're dealing with, and eventually you do set those boundaries. You reset them, and you reset all the other boundaries that maybe you've broken down when they try and push the ones that you just won't break for them or for anyone, even though it's a very hard thing for an empathic person not to compromise and not to allow boundaries to be pushed. Guys, I'm going to end the video soon, but just one thing I'll say to you is, one good thing about healing from narcissistic abuse is that it defines for you your boundaries. And it's a really, really good practice in the healing process to look at those boundaries and in the future decide the next relationship that you may or may not get into, that even write them down, that these are the boundaries that I will not be pushed on. This is who I am. This is what's important to me. And I won't give me or my identity up for anyone. If they love me, they will value these boundaries and make that a promise to yourself that you'll never allow anyone to tear your boundaries down again, because they are your protection. Ultimately, it is what will protect you against narcissistic abuse in the future. The narcissist will also try and boundary check you at the beginning of a relationship. You know, when they'll draw back a bit in the period where they're love bombing, just to see how far you're hooked and how far you will go in relation to boundary breaking, to get an estimate of how easy you will be to control if they were to get into a long-term relationship with you. So guys, going forward, you do have protection. But again, it's a great practice to just write down what you will not be pushed on. And I will hazard a guess that most of the people here have had, even unwittingly, a strong boundary upholding at some stage in the relationship with the narcissist, and have possibly been discarded or escaped the narcissist because of that self-belief. So guys, I'll go around little corners here. I'm going to conclude the video here and wish you a very good day, and wish that you can get out for a walk wherever you are and have a good think about your boundaries maybe when you're out on the walk, and who you are and what defines you and what makes you the beautiful you that you are. Okay, bye.